Psalms 42 to 43, the salvation of my face. A devotional commentary.
To the choir master, a maskil of the sons of Korah, as a deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, O God.
Verse 1. Picture a deer in late summer. The river bed it has come to is dry. It is panting, feeling weak, head down, searching for the water that isn't there. This is how Psalm 42 begins. Not with theology, not with worship, but with an animal in distress. And the speaker says, "That is me." Frame, Psalms 42 to 43 as a literary unity. Psalms 42 and 4:3 are really one prayer. They share a single refrain that returns 3 times, once at the end of each of 3 strophes, and the second psalm has no superscription of its own, because it belongs to the first. The chapter division between them came later. This was a single song and prayer. So we are reading one prayer with 3 movements, bound together by a refrain that lands differently each time it returns. The prayer is honest in a way that not all our prayers are honest. The speaker is in the dark. He cannot get to where God is. The mockery of those around him names exactly what he is afraid is true. And he prays anyway. That is the gift of this psalm. It teaches us how to pray when the face of God seems hidden. Verse 1, the deer, Nephesh as the whole person. The opening image is physical. The Hebrew word here usually translated soul is nephesh, better rendered, the whole person. It is not an inner soul detached from the body. It is the speaker himself, panting, thirsting, weeping. The body and the longing are not separate things.
My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before the face of God?
My tears have been my food day and night, while all day long they say to me, where is your God?
Verse 2. When shall I come and appear before the face of God? What he wants is specific. Not spiritual consolation in general. Not religious feeling. He wants to come and see the face of God. He wants to be where God said he would be, in the temple at the festival where presence was promised. Verses 2 to 3, the 2 shapes of God's absence. But he cannot get there. And 2 different shapes of God's absence press on him. The first is in verse 2. God is in the temple and he is not. The location problem belongs to him. The second is in verse 3. People taunt him asking, where is your God? And this is a different question. This one says, God could have come to where you are and has not. Either God is too distant or you are not worth the visit. Verse 3, tears is food. The tears come. They are his food. Day and night the salt of them. The body that wanted water tastes its own salt instead.
These things I remember as I pour out my soul, how I would go with the throng, leading them in procession to the house of God.
With cries of joy and praising,
a multitude keeping festival.
Verse 4, the memory of the festal procession. So he reaches for memory. He remembers the festal procession, the multitude keeping holiday, the singing, the joy. The memories of past joy can carry us when we cannot feel the present. But it can also deepen the ache. The brighter the remembered light, the darker the present feels.
Why are you cast down, O my soul, and groaning within me? Hope in God, for I shall yet praise Him, the salvation of His face.
Verse 5, the first refrain. And here the first refrain breaks in. He starts speaking to himself because there is no one else to talk to. Why are you cast down, O my soul, and groaning within me? It is the question of one who has begun to argue with his own grief. Hope in God, for I shall yet praise Him, the salvation of His face. His face, God's face. The deliverance that will come from God's presence turned toward Him. The hope is held in the future tense. The deliverance is not yet present.
My God, my soul is cast down within me.
Therefore I remember you from the land of Jordan, and the Hermons from Mount Mizar.
Strophe 2 opens, still cast down. The second strophe begins with the speaker still cast down. The first refrain did not deliver him, so he tries something else. Verse 6, therefore I remember you. Therefore I remember you. If memory of the procession did not bring relief, perhaps memory of God Himself will. He names places where he had known God's presence: the headwaters of the Jordan, the Hermon Range, a small mountain called Mizar. He is reaching for the geography of past encounters, trying to be where he was when he was close.
Deep calls to deep at the roar of your cascades.
All your breakers and your waves have passed over me.
By day the Lord commands His steadfast love,
And at night His song is with me, a prayer to the God of my life.
Verse 7, deep calls to deep. But memory backfires. The geography of headwaters releases not consolation but the image of cascading water. Deep calls to deep at the roar of your cascades. The Hebrew word for deep here is tiham, the same word used in Genesis 1 for the primordial deep, the chaos waters over which God's Spirit hovered before creation. The speaker came looking for refreshing water in memory. He found himself drowning in chaos instead. And the drowning waters are God's. Your cascades, your breakers, your waves. Even the overwhelming is from Him. This is, in its strange way, a comfort. There is no rival power. But it does not feel like comfort. It feels like being held under.
Verse 8, the YHWH/ḥesed hinge. Then a hinge in verse 8. In the English text, the line reads, by day the Lord commands His steadfast love. Where the English reads the Lord in capitals, the underlying Hebrew is YHWH, the personal covenant name of Israel's God. And this is the only occurrence of YHWH in all of Psalm 42. Everywhere else the speaker uses Elohim, the more general name. And it appears precisely here attached to ḥesed, covenant love, steadfast kindness. The covenantal name attached to the covenantal quality. The speaker is trying to keep faith with what he knows is true, even when nothing he feels confirms it.
I say to God, my rock,
Why have you forgotten me?
why must I go mourning
Under the pressure of the enemy,
with shattering in my bones?
my oppressors reproach me.
While they say to me all day long,
Where is your God?
Verses 9 to 10, direct lament, the taunts return. But the keeping faith breaks open into direct lament. I say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? The taunts return. Where is your God? And the second refrain comes, same words as before, but heavier now.
Why are you cast down, oh my soul? And why are you groaning within me? Hope in God, for I shall yet praise Him, the salvation of my face. My God.
Verse 11, the second refrain. When Jesus was in Gethsemane, words from this psalm came up out of him. With his soul overwhelmed to the point of death, he reached for what he already knew in Hebrew. Why are you cast down, my soul? The refrain of this prayer. The Gospel writers recording his words in Greek render it, my soul is sorrowful unto death. The English looks different, but the Gospel writers used the exact Greek phrase from the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible that was widely read in Jesus' time. They heard Jesus praying the refrain of Psalm 42 to 43, and they made sure their Greek-speaking readers would hear it too. The Psalm's refrain was on Jesus' lips the night before the cross. And the second refrain ends with a phrase the first did not have. Not the salvation of his face, but the salvation of my face, my God. Something has shifted. We will come back to this.
Judge me, O God, and plead my cause against a faithless nation. From the man of deceit and injustice, rescue me.
Strophe 3 opens, the turn from talking to self to talking to God. 2 strophes of talking to himself have brought him no deliverance. The taunts still come. The chaos waters are still over his head. The face he longs for is still hidden. What changes at Psalm 43 is the direction of his speech. Psalm 43 verse 1, the direct plea begins. He stops arguing with his soul and turns to God directly. Judge me, O God, and plead my cause against a faithless nation, from the man of deceit and injustice rescue me. The plea is straightforward. Not the language of theology, but of someone in trouble who has finally remembered who he is speaking to.
For you are the God of my stronghold. Why have you rejected me? Why must I go mourning under the pressure of the enemy?
Verse 2, God of my stronghold, Maz. For you are the God of my stronghold. Why have you rejected me? The Hebrew word here is Maz, not a fortress in the architectural sense, but a source of strength, a place where weakness can be protected. The speaker is naming God as the only one he has to hold him up. Even his complaint, why have you rejected me, is now addressed to God's face, not muttered to himself.
Send your light and your truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me to your holy mountain and to your dwelling places. Then I will come to the altar of God, to God the gladness of my joy, and I will praise you with the lyre, O God, my God.
Verse 3, send your light and your truth. Then the request that opens the rest of the prayer. Send your light and your truth, let them lead me, let them bring me to your holy mountain and to your dwelling places. He cannot get to God. So he asks God to send. Light and truth are not abstract qualities here, they are pictured almost as messengers, God's own character going out to bring the speaker home. Verse 4, the altar, the gladness of my joy. And the destination is named. Not a return to the festival procession. Something deeper, the altar of God, to God the gladness of my joy. The Hebrew doubles the word for joy. Joy upon joy. The joy that has joy as its content. And I will praise you with the lyre, O God, my God.
Why are you cast down, O my soul, and why are you groaning
within me? Hope in God, for I shall yet praise Him, the salvation of my face, my God.
Verse 5. The third refrain, same words, different direction. The third refrain returns. The words are identical to the second refrain, but the direction the speaker is facing is no longer the same. He has crossed over from talking to self into prayer. The yet of I shall yet praise him has new weight. The praise has already begun. It began the moment he turned and addressed God directly. He is not yet delivered. The deliverance is still future. But the silence has broken on his side. He is no longer alone with his own questioning soul. This is the gift of the psalm. It does not promise the darkness ends. It teaches the posture of hope when the face is hidden. Closing the psalm's climax. The phrase that ends the second and third refrains is the climax of the whole prayer, and English translation usually flattens it. The Hebrew reads Yeshuoti Panai Elohai. Word for word. The salvations of my face and my God. The little word and in Hebrew here is not adding a second thing to the first. It is what grammarians call an explicative vav, a vav of identification. It does not add, it names. The salvations of my face, namely my God. One thing named twice. This is the climax. The speaker has been asking through 3 strophes for a deliverance. And the prayer has been gradually teaching him that what he is really asking for is not a thing but a person. The deliverance and the deliverer collapse into one. What saves the downcast face is not a gift God brings. It is God Himself. The chaos waters do not need to stop. The taunts may continue. The festival is still out of reach. The salvation is my God, present even when not yet felt. Closing turn the open yet. For the psalmist, this remains a yet. He is still in the dark when the prayer ends. The face of God he longed to see, he did not see in his lifetime in the way he longed. The hope stayed open ahead of him, an empty hand held out toward a future that had not arrived. For Christians, the yet of Psalm 42 to 43 found a name, Yeshua, meaning in Hebrew salvation. The God who is the salvation of the face came near in a face that could be seen. We beheld his glory, the glory the psalmist hoped for from a distance. The empty hand became a hand that took ours, Jesus. The psalm does not require that conclusion to be already true to do its work. It teaches a hope that can be held in the dark before the face is seen.
Why are you cast down?